Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, members of the graduating class, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good evening and welcome once again to the American University in Cairo's 95th commencement ceremony. I'd like to take 1 minute to note that we are Egypt's global university. And as such, not only do we have a large audience this evening to join in celebrating of easily 5,000 people, or some more than that are physically present with us, but we actually have some friends participating from around the world. We have a number of students who do not live in Egypt who come to Egypt for their education, who come to AUC. It's a special privilege to have a few who are from far less fortunate circumstances than most of us here this evening, I would say than any of us here this evening, who are refugees from their home countries, whose families are unable to join us, not by choice, but by circumstances. We are live streaming, and we want all those in our audience around the world to know you are with us tonight, and we are conscious of you, and we join in celebrating your sons and daughters' high achievements. We have much to celebrate today and a great many people to honor, not least our graduates. And in due course, we will introduce each of them to you. But I would like to start with one very special person who is among the leaders of Egypt. She is a member of the cabinet. We are very proud that she is one of our own, an alumna from AUC. Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, the Minister of Tourism, is with us this evening. Thank you, Wazira, Minister, for joining us again. She is here for several reasons. One is she was our speaker at our earlier ceremony for the graduates and said some very inspiring words. But the other, her relationship with AUC and with another very important distinguished guest illustrates the bond that forms between teacher and student, mentor, and protege. And we are all very proud that her mentor is our honoree this evening, our guest speaker, whom I'll introduce in just a few minutes, Dr. Mahmoud Mohyeddin, who will be receiving an honorary degree. So that relationship is what accounts for that double honor. And congratulations again to you, Minister, on your new portfolio and your high responsibilities to your country. So we have many here to honor and many people to thank. I should start with our stage party, without whom none of us would be here this evening. These are the people who work often behind the scenes and for many months to prepare this extraordinary event and to make this university the great place that it is. The people who lead teams of thousands of people to make this a safe, secure, inviting, challenging, and nurturing place to live, to work, to teach, and to learn. So I'd like to begin by recognizing the university's leadership and faculty who are present with us today. And what I would ask is for the people whose names I call to stand and be recognized. And I would ask the audience to please hold your applause until I've read the last name of each of these groups. First, the five colleagues. Our provost, Ihab Abdurrahman, please stand. Ashraf Hatem, our university counselor. Gordon Handke, our interim executive vice president for administration and our chief financial officer. And finally, Amr Sharawi, who's the grand marshal who just stood and welcomed you, and who is the chair of our university senate for a second term coming up. Gentlemen, thank you. I'd like now to also recognize our deans who play vitally important leadership roles under the provost in bringing together and in leading our academic programs and in supervising our services to our students. And again, I'd ask you to hold your applause until I've mentioned the name of the last dean as they stand. First, Ghada Eshimi, Interim Dean of Undergraduate Studies and the Academy of Liberal Arts. Nabil Fahmi, Dean of Global Affairs and Public Policy. Hassan Fawel, Sciences and Engineering. Robert Switzer, Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences. Sharif Kamal, Business. Lamia Aid, Associate Dean of Libraries and Learning Technologies and a proud parent of a graduate. Dina Borai, Continuing Education. And George Markey, Dean of Students. Ladies and gentlemen. Let me now also introduce our distinguished faculty members who have taught, advised, and guided our graduates and shared so many of their precious moments with them on campus. AUC is blessed with a diverse, dedicated, extraordinary talented faculty of international reputation, deeply committed to teaching, researching, and learning. I ask now the entire faculty to rise so that we can recognize you as a group and thank you together. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Today we rejoice in the accomplishments of all our graduates. The faculty has approved each of them for the awarding of their degrees. Each has completed the demanding requirements of their respective curricula. We offer special recognition to those who have demonstrated particular achievement. 116 students are graduating with honors cum laude. May I ask you cum laude students to stand for recognition as a group, cum laude students. Thank you very much. Please be seated. 129 students are graduating with high honors or magna cum laude. Please kindly stand for this recognition. And we may be seated. And we have 144 students who are graduating with the highest honors, summa cum laude. Please stand, summa cum laude students. Thank you very much. Please be seated. I'd like to mention one other group of students who are setting an example. We all of us here are at a seriously not-for-profit institution. That means our operating expenses are not covered, not even close to covered by tuition. This is a high-quality, standard-setting institution of higher education. Tuition only covers about 2/3 of our operating budget. The rest comes from gifts from others. Gifts from people who have given to our endowment in the past and individual gifts who give continuingly. So I would like to cite another group of students, those who participated in the Give 18 campaign. I'd like to call upon the students wearing the senior class gift cord to stand up for recognition for the example you are setting of giving as well as receiving a wonderful education here. Thank you very much. And although you're all about to no longer be students, you will be alumni. And we expect our alumni, we hope our alumni will stay connected and continue to give going forward to others who could share in the good fortune you've enjoyed thanks to the gifts of others. Finally, I'd like to recognize the families who have sacrificed, in many cases, a great deal to support our students through their AUC educations. So may I ask the parents of students, please rise and let us recognize you and thank you. Lamia, you are our parent. Thank you very much. So this is a very special occasion when we draw inspiration from, and we reflect upon the 4 or 5 years we've spent together, and we have always a notable person who is here to reach us at this teachable moment. This is a milestone in our lives, and so we bestow on an individual of high accomplishment each year a particular honor, and actually a responsibility to deliver an inspirational words set of words to us. Today, I'm very honored to introduce this year's undergraduate speaker and honorary degree recipient, Dr. Mahmoud Mohyeddin, Senior Vice President for the World Bank. If I may say a few words about an Egyptian I've much admired for many years since we first met when I was in public office in Egypt a decade ago. Dr. Mohyeddin, we at the American University in Cairo bestow upon you this degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, in recognition of your status as a leading public servant at both the national and the international level, focusing on economic reform and development. You graduated from the University of Warwick with a PhD in economics. Prior to this milestone, you received your master's degree in economics and social policy analysis from the University of York after obtaining your Bachelor's of Science in Economics from Cairo University. In addition to these degrees, you have furthered your own education through the participation of high-level certificate programs at Georgetown University and at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. You began your career as an academic, teaching financial economics at Cairo University before turning to public service. In 1995, you became the director of the Macroeconomic and Debt Analysis Unit in the Office of the Minister of State for International Cooperation. The following year, you became an economic advisor to the Minister of State for Economic Affairs. A year later, you became senior advisor to the Minister of Economy. In 1999, you became senior advisor to the Minister of Economy and Foreign Trade before becoming a senior advisor to the Minister of Foreign Trade in 2001. In 2004, you were appointed the inaugural Minister of Investment, where you served for 6 years prior to your appointment as Managing Director of the World Bank. Your time as Minister of Investment, as I personally saw during a part of it, was marked by reforms and economic growth. Among your many achievements, and as a result of your leadership, Egypt was named as a top reformer for 4 years in the Doing Business report, and is noted as leading the region as the top recipient of foreign direct investment. These achievements are due to your comprehensive structural and regulatory reforms that help to modernize and liberalize the Egyptian economy. Just 1 year after your appointment, you were named a Young Global Leader of the World Economic Forum. Besides your many high-profile appointments, you also have served as a member of many boards, particularly here in Egypt, including the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Egypt, the Boards of Directors for HSBC Egypt, Telecom Egypt, and the Egyptian Diplomatic Institute at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in addition to serving as an advisor to the Egyptian Center for Economic Studies. Since joining the World Bank, you have gone from Managing Director, responsible for human development, sustainable development, poverty reduction, and economic management, finance and private sector development, the World Bank Institute, and World Bank Deputy to the G20, to the President's Special Envoy on the Millennium Development Goals, the post-2015 agenda, and financing for development in 2013. The following year, you added to your portfolio when you were appointed Corporate Secretary and Executive Secretary to the Development Committee of the World Bank Group's Board of Governors. Most recently, you assumed your current position of Senior Vice President for the 2030 Development Agenda, UN Relationships and Partnerships. With the latest appointment, your international reach has expanded even further as you became the World Bank's group representative to the United Nations. Your dedication to tackling the most challenging economic concerns, both nationally and internationally, spearheading economic reform and collaboration, and working towards economic development, forges a legacy measured not by career success alone, but by your impact on the world around us. May I invite you now to receive your honorary degree with the Provost, Dean and Camel.